Hey friends, welcome to the Raising Boys and Girls podcast. I'm Sissy Goff.
And I'm David Thomas.
And I'm Melissa Trevathan.
And we're so glad you joined us for this conversation. Let's dive in.
This is so fun.
Yeah.
We have been so excited to talk to the two of you and hear your perspective. And I would love for you each to start off by telling a little bit about the population you work with, what you're doing, and even how long you've both been doing it. Because, Richie, you're newer to the counseling piece of it, but you have a lot of experience with kids over the years. So anyway, y'all are just two voices we trust a lot.
Yes.
I'm very excited to lend your voices to this podcast. So thank you.
Thanks.
You go.
Yes, I work with mostly elementary and middle school age girls.
And you're an artist.
Yes.
And so you incorporate a lot of art.
A lot of art into my practice.
practice.
It gets a little tricky with the lingo. You can't say art therapy because that's a specific licensure. But I do a lot of art in my practice. And it's a lot of fun.
So cool, the things that kids, I love seeing what you do with girls all the time. And Richie?
So I work with all boys, and I have everything from 8 to 17-year-old boys. And I'd say it's pretty split down the middle, probably 8 to 12s, about the same amount as I do 13 to 17s. But I'd say probably most of my range is probably mainly 10 to 14-year-olds. It's probably mainly what I have. But so I've got a good variety. And then I've also just started this profession back in January. And but I've kind of been doing it in a different way for 26 years, being a teacher. So I've been used to talking parents off ledges and kids off ledges for a long time. So it was a really good transition to go from teaching to doing this work.
I think it's so cool, both of you, because you took a break for a while, having babies. And I mean, I feel like there are probably people listening who think, oh, I wish I would have been a counselor at some point along the way. And to say, even if you paused it, you can certainly go back.
100%.
Or you can switch gears and do something different, which is cool and encouraging.
It was about
Yes, it is.
10 years after I finished grad school before I circled back.
And we're so glad.
Yes, we are. All the time.
Yes.
Oh, thanks, guys.
So building on that, you all tell us something that you would say is your favorite part of working with kids or something you've learned from working with a kid recently.
Well, I think one of the best parts of this job is obviously the first part of joining, which is building connection, trust, relationship, and just seeing the fruits of that, then helping to lead kids into a better place emotionally, mentally, spiritually. I really enjoy that. And I think specifically one of my favorite parts is when you're sitting with a kid who maybe have tried to explain to other people what they're feeling and going through, and maybe people just don't get it. And to see the look in their eyes when they notice and they understand that I do get what they're going through. And that's just a really special moment for me, because it can feel lonely sometimes when you feel like people don't understand. And so that, like I said, is probably my favorite part.
Great.
I had a moment recently with a girl in my office. She told me, I was asking her, what are your favorite coping skills? What helps you a lot when you're in a hard moment and you're upset and you need to calm down? And she was saying she started doing this thing where she would give her problem a number between 1 to 10, where 1 is not really that big of a deal. 10 is a volcano. And then she would take that many deep breaths.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, that's so simple, but also brilliant.
Yes.
Can I share that idea with other people?
Yes.
And she was like, she kind of lit up. She was like, sure. and then the next time she came in my office, I told her, I was like, I have used that and told a lot of friends. And we have all tried it together. And I've even tried it. And it has helped so many people. And in the best way possible. I haven't seen her again.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like
yes.
she is just, I think her knowing that she was able to help people through overcoming something herself.
Yes.
So great.
That's so cool.
It was cool.
Yeah. One of my favorite things recently is like that, the things that we can learn from them. A little girl came in for an assessment and she was having a lot of nighttime anxiety. And so she said, she would lay in bed and go through the alphabet and think of someone in her life that is each letter, like starting with an A. And then she'd pray for that person, and then the B. And she was 10 years old. I mean, it was the sweetest.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, there's so much we can learn. And when we empower them, that it's a great idea and can make a difference for other people. That's awesome, Rachel.
Yep.
I love that she didn't come back. That's so good.
I mean, I'll miss her, but
Sure.
yes. Go, girl.
That's so good. Well, so this season of the podcast is called Are My Kids on Track? And we're talking about emotional, social, and spiritual milestones. So we like to talk about them like muscles that kids are growing. And right now, talking about the social milestones, what would you all say particularly is a weaker muscle you're seeing in kids? And I think both of you, with the longevity you've had in the field, I know you see things shift. We were just talking about it in our girls' supervision yesterday, some of the things that are shifting. But socially in particular, what would you say?
My first inclination is to say technology and the way that just demands our attention all the time and how I feel like pulled in so many directions. And kids have got to feel that too. But this morning I was asking my 10-year-old about that question. I was like, what is like a stumbling block for you with awareness? And she said, I was expecting her to say technology and just being in school and the pressure and all that. But she actually said, trying to be funny. And I thought, that is so interesting. Yes, we've all seen it. You're trying to make a joke and you forget that could hurt somebody's feelings. Yeah, I thought that was really a wise perspective too. But yeah, I do think technology has been a big piece.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So talking about awareness, of course, I had the privilege for 26 years, especially with boys, to witness them on a day-to-day basis and their struggle, obviously, with awareness. And yeah, as we know, the boy's brain, the way it's wired is for, activity, movement, and so forth. And just to see the difference between girls and guys. I've always wondered what it'd be like to teach at a Harpeth Hall or somewhere, and just the difference it would be to just teach a group of girls, and just because they're all sitting there proper and just at least pretending like they're ready to learn.
Yeah.
So, but at least they, they're just really just so much calmer, where the boys are just struggling to even sit in their seats, not touch somebody, and all those things. And so that definitely plays a factor. Another factor, I think, with boys too, is the competition, kind of like to build on what she's talking about. They're at a stage where they're beginning to compare themselves. They're, building a pecking order, and just that need for acceptance and belonging, I think a lot of times leads them to not being socially aware. And like you said, just the reward of getting a laugh from everybody far outweighs what the teacher thinks, what a parent thinks. And so a lot of times it leads them to be inappropriate or other things and not being aware in those situations. So especially with boys.
It's so interesting, Hopetown, when we're doing our first day and we do the little introduce yourself and say, if you could be a superhero, whatever, little get to know each other questions, icebreakers, I think they're called. And the girls are just saying whatever their answer is. And the amount of competition that you watch happen without a word with those boys of trying to be funny and have the best answer, the wittiest answer, they get so into puns in that time. Literally every first day of Hopetown, I think it is so hard to be a boy. I just can't imagine what that feels like, that you have to be the funniest in the room at all times, and that you feel like everyone's watching to see if you're going to pull it off.
Right.
So much pressure.
A lot of pressure.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay, what would you both say is one practice that helps kids develop the muscles of their social development? Okay, I made my famous breakfast bowl again this morning.
You love that thing.
I do. It's become my signature dish. Want to know my secret ingredient?
Yes.
It's my Our Place cookware. It looks so professional that people assume I really know what I'm doing. I trick folks all the time at my house.
I have convinced every person in my family to swap out their toxic kitchenware and appliances for Our Place's non-toxic, healthy, sustainable choices.
Our Place is healthy and PFAS-free versus the industry. Most cookware brands continue to use these chemicals due to their low costs. Leading the change, Our Place has always been PFAS-free and offers the most durable, toxin-free ceramic coatings, ensuring a healthy, safe cooking experience.
In addition to cookware, PFAS are also frequently used in appliances, especially air fryers, pressure cookers, crock pots, and even the rim of blenders. That's why Our Place came out with non-toxic appliances that are changing the game.
And did we mention their beautifully designed and beautiful colors that feel like art objects that elevate any home and make you feel creative in the kitchen? We have the Always Pan and Sage, and I love it. Find out why Our Place has 75,000 five-star reviews on their award-winning products, and they've been mentioned in the New York Times, Bon Appetit, and more.
Our Place is a mission-driven and female-founded brand that makes beautiful kitchen products that are healthy and sustainable.
Go to FromOurPlace.com and enter our code RBG at checkout to receive 10% off site-wide. That's FromOurPlace.com, code RBG.
Our Place offers a 100-day trial with free shipping and returns.
Well, I really enjoy role play, in session. It's a lot of fun, and it's also good to have the give and take and then be able to discuss what that was like, and then, maybe go back and think, what could we have said differently, or what could we have noticed, body language, and, just different parts of social cues and those kind of things. And then just also then eventually leading, and I think a lot of it, what I like to do is challenge them to maybe in, low stakes situations to practice that, whether it's, at the grocery store in a checkout aisle, or at a restaurant ordering food, or just other low stakes where the pressure is not there from peers and so forth, as they begin to continue to develop that muscle,
Right.
And so, I just think, again, and I know that's a challenge they have to take on their own, but I think just encouraging them to do that. And, I'll even have a lot of parents, we'll talk about that, like having them go in there and get the food or get the thing, and having them be able to practice those things is really important.
Yes,
So,
that's so good.
mhm.
At Daystar, we do groups. And one of the things we do at group is go out to dinner. And I love, love, love being able to take the girls to dinner and let them have their money and pay for their food and order their food. And it's just a perfect glimpse of just a little moment where you get to practice.
Yes.
Like making eye contact with somebody, telling them what you want to eat, and then paying for it. And it's really cool at the beginning of the semester of groups to watch how even that skill develops in these girls from the beginning of group to the end of group, just them being confident, walking up to a counter and placing their order towards the end. And that just goes to show that practice is the best practice for building awareness.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Just having to do it.
Doing it.
Yes.
And I do think, like you said, role play is great too. There's something I do in my office where we kind of, we take the CBT triangle where it has the thoughts at one corner, feelings at one corner, actions at one corner, and we almost make it a board game. And this isn't something I think would necessarily need to do at home, but we slow it down. We slow down the situation in a role play something that's happened in the kid's life and let them think about each part, each aspect, like the thoughts that were happening in the moment and the feelings that were happening in the moment, how that led to the next thing, and just really slow it down. And I think a lot of the learning comes in when you are moving through it slowly.
Yes, that's
Great.
so good. I love that. Well, so thinking about awareness specifically, how would y'all define social awareness? And you've already said so many great things that you're doing in your practice, but is there anything else that you would add that you feel like is helping kids develop more of that in what you're doing?
I think you would maybe define it as being able to read a room.
Yes.
And also what's in front of you and going on around you, being aware of that. Maybe the opposite of it could be being careless or.
Yes.
Yeah, I would define it as like being able to see outside yourself and how your actions affect others, whether positive or negative, negatively. Again, like I said, a lot of role play. And I think anytime and anything we're talking about, if I can bring empathy into the room and having them be able to express back to me what somebody might be thinking in the situation, what somebody might be going through, what it's like for them, I think can be very effective to have them, be able to, like I said, like you kind of said, walk through each part of it and just, and they're surprisingly a lot of times really good at it when you just, give them the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, that's true.
Is there anything else you all think parents could be doing at home with kids to strengthen this muscle of awareness?
Sure. When you're, walking into Walgreens or, wherever you are. I remember when my husband and I were dating and we'd, play that game when we'd be out to eat at a restaurant and you'd be like, oh, what do you think they're doing? What do you think their story is? And it, you can do that with your kids too. And in an appropriate way where you're not, maybe so the person can't hear you. I think my first go at teaching awareness as a parent was when my kids were little bitty and they're at the grocery store and, riding along in the buggy and we're chatting and my daughter says very loudly, Mom, why does that person have so many freckles?
Yes.
And that was my first lesson or my first time to talk to her about awareness and thinking like, this starts early and this isn't necessarily innate. They have to learn it and practice it. And so getting to have a moment where we talk about it and think, okay, how do you think that person would feel? Talking through those things, I think is what parents can be doing.
That's great.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, anything we've talked about, I think they can do. I think you do have to be willing and not be scared to call things out and help them, lovingly be aware because we don't know what we don't know or what we don't recognize. And so, and then like, again, I'll always go back to the word empathy again, allowing your kids to continue to see things from other people's perspectives and just understand what they're going through. And so, I think it's just, again, a lot of stuff we do in session, they can do at home. And like you said, fun games, like what do you think they're going through? I know y'all talk about like getting magazines and different stuff and having pictures that people look at and say, what do you think this person's feeling in the moment or going through? So, or TV shows and can be a lot of fun too, but a good learning experience.
Yes. Well, I would be really curious what you would each say. I mean, I love that you mentioned technology because I do think it feels like there's such a I don't know what the word is, cycle vortex between empathy, awareness, and what technology is doing. And so thinking about things that block awareness for kids that you're seeing specifically. I mean, we've said trying to be funny, competition, technology. Is there anything y'all would say more specifically for girls or boys, or maybe it's even more of technology and where you feel like it's impacting each? Because I think it's probably different in terms of the genders because of even what I would imagine you're not talking about social media, Richie, nearly as much as you're talking about video games.
Right.
And, what aspect of it do you think is hardest for them? I had a bunkin' party this weekend, and Saturday morning started with the More song again.
Please explain the More song.
My sweet little nephew, Whit, who loves his High of Vitamins and always says more after he takes them, came downstairs shaking his High of bottle like a tambourine, singing and ready to start the day.
I love that guy, and he knows that typical children's vitamins are basically candy in disguise, filled with 2 teaspoons of sugar, unhealthy chemicals, and other gummy junk growing kids should never eat. That's why Haya was created, the pediatrician-approved, super-powered, chewable vitamin.
While most children's vitamins are filled with 5 grams of sugar and can contribute to a variety of health issues, Haya is made with 0 sugar and 0 gummy junk. Yet, it tastes great and is perfect for picky eaters.
It's non-GMO, vegan, dairy-free, allergy-free, gelatin-free, nut-free, and everything else you can imagine. Hiya is designed for kids 2 and up and sent straight to your door so parents have one less thing to worry about.
I love that they ship to my front door. My nephews keep their own bottle at my house. They love decorating the bottle with fun stickers that Hiya sends in your first order.
And Hiya just launched a new collab. Tell folks about that.
The same multivitamin that more than 1 million kids and parents love are now available in Barbie Pink with the limited edition Barbie unboxing experience, including Barbie bottle and Barbie stickers.
I also recommend checking out their new Kids Probiotic and Nighttime Essentials.
We've worked out a special deal with Hiya for their best-selling children's vitamin. Receive 50% off your first order. To claim this deal, you must go to hiyahealth.com/RBG. This deal is not available on their regular website.
Go to hiyahealth.com/RBG and get your kids the full body nourishment they need to grow into healthy adults.
It's like everybody, like most adults too, their heads are stuck in technology all the time.
Mm-hmm.
There's video games. That's one of the constant things I hear about from parents is how do I get them to not play so many video games,
Mm-hmm.
And then there's always the part of it where in some ways, though, video games are a connection piece for a lot of kids because they're talking to people on headphones,
Right.
but that's not face-to-face either,
Right.
So you're missing something. You're missing a lot of social cues there
Yes.
and body language and so forth. So, yeah, I would say the technology piece for sure. And I think going back what we talked about earlier with boys, it is just development, a lot of it at the time,
Yeah.
and it's like I said, I see in my experience of teaching, I've seen so many great-hearted kids
Mm.
who maybe are perceived as disrespectful, rude, obnoxious, but really it's just a lack of awareness.
Mhm.
Yeah, it truly is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
It's not their desire to be those
Right.
things, but they just aren't aware.
Mm.
I'd always laugh. One of the funniest things that I always see as a teacher would be, of course, the girls are sitting there quietly, and then you'll just hear a ruckus, like the loudest, like boys are so loud, kind of like you're talking about.
Mhm.
And so a lot of times I go back there, oh, there must be a fight or something.
Mhm.
And I'd be like, everything okay? Yeah, we're just talking about sandwiches. Whatever.
That's so funny.
And I'm like, I love your passion for sandwiches,
Right.
but again, it's like, but they're just loud,
Yes.
Mhm.
And it's just like, and I'm sure I was when I was that age, but it's just like they're just not aware of how loud, and oftentimes I feel like I'm getting onto them for things that again they're not doing anything to be bad, but they just don't realize it,
Mhm. Yes.
or bumping into people, or the race to, like it's good, going back to the competition,
Yeah.
the race to be first at everything.
Mhm.
Yeah. If I run over 8 people, so be it,
Right.
but I'm going to be first,
Yeah. And what's your answer of when parents say, how do I get them off video games?
They'll just have to come out. They'll just have to come to session to find out.
That's good. That's good.
Ask them about sandwiches.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Yeah.
There you go.
No, I just say throw all the video games away, and you'll be Just kidding. Just kidding.
You know what we haven't talked about yet is ADHD. I feel like that's a big hurdle for
Yeah.
awareness.
Yeah.
And girls are naturally more aware than boys, kind of as you
Mhm.
mentioned, like they might be sitting quietly, that they're
Mhm.
ready to please. And but the ones that have ADHD, it is going to be more of a struggle. And for girls and boys alike, that I feel like that is a big hurdle. And anxiety can also be, and if you have something going on at home, of course you're not going to be so present in the moment. But with ADHD, I feel like it doesn't mean that awareness isn't going to come. I think it
Yes.
just means it's going to be slower
Yes.
to get
Mhm.
there.
Yes.
You're going to be, and that is okay.
Mhm. I read that kids with ADHD are 30% behind developmentally, which makes sense socially, exactly what you're saying.
We've heard the term late bloomers, and
Right.
it's really okay to be a late bloomer. It might feel hard as a parent if you're watching your kid not keep up, but
Right.
it doesn't mean that they're doomed by any means. In
Yes.
fact, like sometimes it might be better to not be in the first group of people to finish something
Yes.
or to get it.
Yes, that's so true. Yeah, that's great, Rachel. Thank you.
Thinking big picture, what would the two of you say are some things you think kids are needing from parents today?
Modeling modeling that empathy,
Mm.
Mhm.
but also like slowing down a situation and maybe even talking about it later or talking about where you mess up, you know?
Yes.
I wasn't so nice to that person. Then
No, I agree. Modeling,
Mhm.
just how we handle situations, how we treat other people, our own awareness, of how we affect others. And because again, we all know kids are watching, and they're um, going to mimic a lot of things we do. So I agree. I think modeling would be the number one thing parents could do,
Yeah.
but with patience and understanding,
Mhm. Yes. We have talked a lot in the last couple of years, and I think y'all probably would say the same, that we feel like parents are more discouraged than they've ever been. And I mean, you and I were just talking, walking in here, about how every parent we see is doing the best that they can, that they know to do with what they have, which, if you're listening, we would say that is certainly true about you.
Right.
So what encouragement would y'all give weary parents right now?
Yeah. Again, first of all, be able to give yourself some grace. One of the other favorite things I love to do is when I meet with parents is be able to, help them find some grace for themselves and realize it's not easy raising kids. And to be able to, again, like I said, for years in parent teacher conferences, talking parents off ledges, helping them, find hope in that. And I would say too, it's easy, like you said, to get in a comparison game with your kids and other people's kids, and just to realize people develop different, times. But again, it's never too late to start working on some of these muscles and skills, and to just to not be afraid to even reset at times when you need to, and set healthy expectations, maybe where you find out, I wish we would have expected more in this area, but I would just say it's just never, too late, and find the grace, find some grace for yourself, for sure.
Yes. It's good.
Yeah. Give yourself grace. 100%. It's so easy to feel like you're failing and you're not keeping up. And, I see parents that are discouraged, but I think if you're a parent listening to the podcast right now, you care about your child and you want to get some wisdom, and you've come to the right place, because just being in the room with Sissy and David, I feel like I gain wisdom. You guys just ooze wisdom. It's just coming out in here. But yeah, the fact that you care and you love your kid, I think that's the biggest thing they need. So go easy on yourself. I think that's the biggest thing. And as far as awareness goes, it's something that is still developing. Like, I don't think it's naturally, and I don't think it's necessarily innate. They have to learn it. And so one of the times you learn the most is through making mistakes. And, so if you see your kid not keeping up with awareness, or if you see them stumble, like, use that as an opportunity to learn and grow.
Right.
And you can do it together.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's so good.
Okay, we like to end with something fun and food related.
Okay.
So we've got a 2-part question for you both. Part 1 is queso or guac. Part 2 is what's your favorite taco?
I have low iron, which is, how is that relevant? That's relevant because avocados are a great source of iron.
Yes.
And I didn't know that till recently. But I love avocados. So it works out really well for me. And guac is obviously my answer. And a taco with guacamole. There you go. Easy.
That's a great answer.
I'm the opposite. I have very high iron. No, I don't know. I don't even know what that. Honestly, I couldn't even tell you what that means. Honestly, but so I get, it's a tough one. I think if it's the right queso, I'd have to go queso.
Okay.
But freshly made guacamole's phenomenal too.
Yes.
So that's a tough. And I'm pretty basic taco guy: meat, cheese, lettuce, throw some sour cream and some mild sauce. No, I'm not a hot guy. Yeah. But I like the mild sauce. That's all I need. I'm pretty simple. So.
With a Diet Coke.
Well, of course.
Yes.
Everything with a Diet Coke.
Y'all, thank you.
You are so
grateful
fun.
for you both.
Yeah, that was great.
Y'all just, you know this, you hear this, but you are making such a difference every single day with kids and families. And
Yes, you are.
just a privilege to get to do this with you both.
Likewise.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun.
David, what a team we have that we get to call friends who help make this podcast possible.
Amanda Young, our operations manager.
Chris Starrett, our engineer.
Our management team at H Squared.
We are thrilled to be a part of the That Sounds Fun network.
Our music was created by the insanely talented Dave Haywood of Lady A.
And if this podcast felt helpful to you, please consider subscribing, liking, sharing, all the things.
We are grateful for you and cheering you on always.